Welcome to This Week in Guns. This show is brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network and Patriot Patch Company. This is a broadcast that offers commentary on the latest firearms industry news, information, and buzz. I'm your host, Jake Challand, president of FRN. You make this show possible. That's right. You simply click through our Amazon affiliate link the next time you're shopping online, and a small portion of your sale goes to supporting pro-gun shows like This Week in Guns. We have a great panel this week. Hot Off Shot Show, John Patton of the Gun Collective and Patton Media Consulting. Hey, John.
Hey, Jake. How are you, brother?
Oh, doing pretty good. We have a first-timer here on This Week in Guns. We have Nate Schultz of the NSZ85 YouTube channel. Hey, Nate.
How's it going?
Going great. So tell us a little bit about your channel and what you do.
Oh, man. Basically, anything to do with the AR-15 as far as getting started into the hobby and the black rifle disease. I can show you how to build it and how to do it correctly to the best of my ability of teaching. So that's pretty much what mine's about.
Very cool. And we have Nate Marr, the director of business development at Kinetic Development Group. Hey, Nate.
Hey, Jake. Good to be back on.
Josh Cast of Four Guys Guns. Hey, Josh. Is he here? Did we lose him?
He's temporarily missing.
All right, Matt DeVito, Downrange Firearms Training. Hey, Matt.
What's going on, Jake? I was going to say you saved the best for last, but Whitey went and screwed that up. So
okay. We have Josh, fresh back from the interweb. Hey, Josh.
Pleasure to be here, Jake. Thanks for having me.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual co-hosts and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the Firearms Radio Network and or their employers. Your discretion is advised, especially on live shows. Patriot Patch Company helps make this episode possible. Check out the Patch of the Month Club. We just released the February design, the True Love patch, AR-15 AK patch, which... will be shipping here in the next couple weeks. So if you're not already a Patch of the Month member, you want to check that out and subscribe. Also, check out the Horseshoes and Hand Grenades patch and the new pre-order for Make America Badass Again patch, patriotpatch.co. Top stories this week. Well, those of you guys that went to SHOT Show, I wanted to kind of get your impression on the positive you saw this year at SHOT. And go ahead and start with Murr. It's, you were probably stuck in a booth most of SHOT from your perspective.
Not just in a booth, but in a 10-foot by 10-foot meeting room attached to my booth with no windows. But no, I'm going to say, I don't know about you guys, but it felt like the show was busier than in past years, like more foot traffic, just a lot more attendees. So, I mean, that was my observation of it. We had a bigger booth. Last year was our last year exhibiting, but this year we had a 10 by 30-foot booth, and we arranged it a little bit different. And I'm going to tell you, I probably talked to 10 times as many people this year than last year, which we were in the same spot. It was pretty interesting that way. But no, I would actually say that this was probably one of the better SHOT shows I've gone to in the last couple of years. So as much as I dread SHOT Show, and I think a lot of listeners don't understand that, like, people that are in the industry, they kind of like have this love-hate relationship with SHOT where they look forward to getting to see their friends. Like I got to see DeVito and John and Whitey and the whole crew and a bunch of other really great people, but it comes at the cost of little sleep, extremely expensive food, and lots and lots and lots of walking and getting hit in the ankles with carts. So yeah, it was actually a really good show.
The guys last week, the AR-15 podcast took over and gave us some SHOT Show perspective last week, and they said that was one of their biggest pet peeves, those guys with those milk crate carts running up and down the aisles.
Like, whoever thought that was a good idea to, like, so you go to SHOT and there's all these tire kickers that come, and what they do is the kind of dudes wearing 511 vests and like yellow aviator glasses, like shooting glasses, right? Well, they'll go get one of these carts, and it's like a milk crate on wheels, and they just carelessly pull it behind them and smack you in the ankles. And then what they do is they go from booth to booth and collect catalogs of products they're never going to buy, and stickers and patches of brands they don't even care about. And it's like it
We
takes
come up
off.
with a name for it.
Oh, there's a name.
Yeah.
Swagapotamus.
Swagapotamus. But there's this thing a couple years ago where this guy and his wife like went to SHOT, and all they did was like run the entire show and just get like morale patches from people's booths, and then sold them on eBay and made like $8,000 off of it. So the thing is, it's like, like patches cost money. Like depending on where you get them made, they're anywhere from like $1 to a couple dollars to get made. And there's these people they'll interrupt me as I talk to a customer who's actually interested in a product to take one of my patches. I'm like, oh, hey, sir, here, talk to, Rojas or O'Brien or somebody. And he's like, no, and they'll just run away. I'm like, it was so
They
important.
literally will interrupt to grab a patch and then leave. That's it. They don't want anything else.
Yeah, but they don't even want to hear about our products. Like, I know they don't know who we are. I mean, we're a young company. We're only 3 years old.
They don't care.
But they don't. So why do they care about the patch then? That's what doesn't make any sense.
People are weird, man. I think the crate thing is very, very self-centered. But that's just like human nature. You're watching human nature happen in front of you. You're walking down this super crowded aisle, and dude in the middle stops and looks to his right or his left, and looking at, oh, that's a neat rifle. This is a neat thing. It's about me. I'm stopping, because they don't realize that they're in the way. They're not thinking, where am I spatially? Am I dragging something ridiculous? Because I don't think it would be as bad if guys were like moving with those things. But the guys that have those carts are the guys that walk, 2 feet an hour.
So John, I started this alliance, and maybe you guys want to get in on it.
Oh boy.
So I thought about it this year, and I ran out of time. I forgot about it and was too short on time. So what I want to do for next year, and I already have people on this, so it's not just going to be me. So if you guys want to contribute, then let me know. What I want to do is I'm going to get a bunch of those little 1 ounce bottles of Purell hand sanitizer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like the little ones, because everybody's sick at SHOT. Everybody gets sick, right? So I want to get a bunch of those little Purell, little one-time use ones, and then fill them with KY or Astroglide or something. And every time I see one of those milk crates, I want to toss one in. So imagine being in the middle of SHOT. You're like a mile and a half from a bathroom to wash your hands. You're like, oh, you go to put a catalog in your arms crate, and you find this little thing of Purell. Like, oh, I could use that. I don't want to get sick. You lather up real good, and it doesn't dry.
You're gonna stop shaking somebody's hand who's fallen for that prank.
You're gonna try it. You're gonna get reverse stink palmed.
It's pretty much that's exactly.
Would you like a chocolate covered pretzel?
Okay, we gotta move on. John, what was your impression of SHOT this year?
This year was really interesting. In previous years, we saw a lot of AR-15 focused products, like a ton of that kind of crap, right? And I think, with the political season, kind of everybody getting relieved of all that kind of crap, and now the industry has had a chance to breathe in a lot of different ways, and I think that has allowed people to feel comfortable bringing new stuff to market that they may not have for another year or two. And it's pretty cool. I think there's a lot of new products on the market, some product line expansions that are great. And, I'm happy to see more variety at SHOT than in previous years. At least that's the way I feel. I'm not sure if that's the truth or not, but I feel like we're seeing a lot more variety of products and companies and, just cool stuff across the board.
Very cool. DeVito, we were talking a little bit before the show, and you said you had one of your better SHOT show experiences that you've ever had.
Yeah, I actually saw it a bit differently this year. I normally go as either the firearms instructor or the gun shop owner, the retail gun store. And I went this year a little bit differently. I kind of tagged along with both Whitey and John as far as the Gun Collective and Four Guys Guns go, and saw it from a totally different perspective, from the social media and marketing perspective. And I had probably, I think it's my 7th year going. I had way more fun this year hanging out with those two guys, I should say with their crews, than I did any other year, because it just seemed like the pressure wasn't on as much. And it's funny. I know John always kind of gets a little bit weirded out when somebody's like, "Hey, you're the guy from the Gun Collective," and it was really cool to see people stop John, stop Whitey, and grab him and just be like, "Hey," or even to me, and like, "Hey, you're the guy from the Weekly Drill Down." It was just a totally different perspective. I liked it a lot more. Me personally, Nate said he thought the show was a lot busier. I thought it was a lot slower, and the reason being is there's no urgency right now. Trump got the presidency, Hillary didn't get in, and it seemed like there's really no urgency, where the past couple of years it's been this big buildup of what's to come. Again, I didn't see it as Nate did as from a vendor side of things, so maybe I was a little jaded with it.
What do you mean by urgency? I'm not sure I understand.
So last year, for example, going as a retail store, my business was to try and get as much ammo and as many guns as I could into my store, not knowing what the political climate was going to bring, knowing that there's going to be an election coming up. This year, it was kind of like everybody's like, okay, let's take a step back. Let's take a breather. We've got a couple years to figure stuff out. So it just seemed like there weren't as many people out there trying to hustle products as there have been in the past couple years.
I think a lot of it, with the, at least I think I can speak for you and Whitey in this regard. I think we both had some growth and success, and Nate has seen the same thing, but it's a completely different arena. At least I think we've had a little bit of a shift in perspective as we continue to grow. I think things get a little easier for us as opposed to previous years, and I think that plays a part into it. And I think the reason Nate is saying that it felt really busy is because their company is growing, right? They were, not every booth feels that.
That was going to be my comment.
That could be it, I guess. I don't know. To me, it felt like there's more foot traffic. Like there's every aisle was packed 24/7 until about, Thursday afternoon.
I didn't have to kick nearly as many milk carts as I did last year, because when they hit me, I don't just say, "Oh, that hurt." Like I kick the fucker over. I don't even care. Big time stamp there. That's an F.
That was good. Let's clap it up.
I mean, Nate, consider the fact that you were in your world and your box for a long time, and KDG has done a lot. Whether you feel like you've done a lot or not, and it's hard to see the forest from the trees, is something that I always say to Mr. Patton, but your view was a lot shorter, and you guys have been so busy doing what you do that when you have as many people kind of praising and showing and sharing your products online, you're bound to be busier. And I wouldn't be surprised if actually SHOT Show attendance was down next year, but you felt busier, like if it was all packed.
That's interesting. I appreciate your guys' perspective. I guess we'll have to see for next year, but I think what everybody's saying though, overall, a big sigh of relief was collectively breathed this shot because of the election outcome. I think next year you're going to see some really, really cool stuff. You got to see some really neat stuff come out this year. Some of it was small. Some of the smallest things are the things that impressed me this year. But you also see stuff like that new Hudson pistol, which is a step forward. It's an interesting design. You guys, I think, saw some different rifles, and what was that? Like that Mark 36 rifle. It was like a combo of an AR-10 and an M14. So what I'm saying is, I think there's a lot of people, and I think I've said it before, where a lot of companies were hesitant to spend a lot of R&D money into a new gun this past year because they knew the election was coming up and they didn't know how it was going to work out. There's no point in spending all that money for a product that you can't even manufacture and produce because of the political outcome, right? So I think this year, now, at the very least, the gun industry appears to have the next 4 years wide open. We have this repeal the NFA petition going around. There's all kinds of stuff with the Hearing Protection Act. I see a lot of people excited right now. So I think next year we're going to see some really, really cool stuff.
All right, we gotta keep moving. No, Whitey, you lost your turn.
Wow.
Nate,
wow.
Use your extension, Whitey.
F-bombs cancels out extensions.
Oh, wow.
So Nate, Schultz, I guess you didn't make it this year to SHOT. Is that correct?
Nope, I did not go. It was my wife's 40th birthday, so I hung out back in Minnesota.
Oh, way to go telling everyone how old she is.
It's still young, man.
So what was your impression seeing all those social media posts and from being not going this year?
So one thing that I did specifically this year is I kind of just let things come to specifically on my Facebook feed just naturally. I just wanted to see what is it that's going to show up naturally. And I can, John, nicely done, because I saw the Gun Collective all over the place. And it was really cool to see that. Know that, you know, I'm like, hey, I know John. And it's really cool to see his success and to see him blowing up all over the place.
Thanks.
That was really cool for me. And then as far as like new products, anything like that, I can tell you what excited me was first initially the H9, and then the new Glock trigger from CMC Triggers. I wish I would have been able to shoot it. You know, I got mixed feedback just from, you know, texting people who I knew were at meet. I'm like, hey, how'd that trigger feel? You know, this and that. And some people were like, hey, it felt really good, really good.
We lose him.
Did we lose you?
Frozen in time forever.
Sorry,
Okay.
as long as he said
Comment of the
Gun
night
Collective,
goes out to Billy on Facebook Live. He says, lost his turn. So much for whitey privilege.
You guys
rich
hear me?
get richer.
You're back.
All
Oh, he's
right.
back.
Sorry. So yeah, anyway, I just kind of let things come naturally, and I saw a lot of the Gun Collective. And as far as like media coverage, I felt like there was maybe less. And I think the article that Tim from Military Arms Channel came out with kind of talked a little bit about maybe some reasoning behind that. But I don't know. It was cool. You know, there wasn't anything super, super, super awesome like there has been in years past where I was like, oh gosh, I gotta get everything and know everything there is to know about that. But the H9 was, for me, that was the thing that stuck out. As that seems pretty cool.
All right, we're going to hit on some more SHOT Show topics later on here in the episode in our new rapid fire segment that we're going to give a shot. So let's move on to inauguration related topics here. Trump was inaugurated last Friday. He's already hard to work signing executive orders and whatnot. Here's some headlines I'm going to read, and then we're going to comment on. Trump promises to deliver power back to the people in address. Congress kills Obama Social Security gun grab. Hunting groups applaud Trump's pick for USDA head. NRA steps up campaign for Sessions as Attorney General. Petition to repeal the NFA has shown up on whitehouse.gov. And Washington Post calls the sound of a gunshot a safety feature.
What?
I have no words for that.
It's a safety feature. How do you know if they're shooting at you if they have silencers?
I don't know, because bullets. Forget it. I don't even want to. I don't want to do this, Jake. Don't make me.
Well, I would say that it's extremely rare that the Washington Post ever gets anything gun related wrong. So I'm saying that we just blindly follow this article.
Blind, yes. So I want to talk about the feeling at SHOT Show during the inaugural event.
Okay.
Because, you know, as we're walking in, because this is happening East Coast, we're all West Coast, we're walking into SHOT Show, and it's on every monitor in that place. It's everywhere. However, I was at SHOT Show, and I know the rest of you were most likely there. I'm pretty sure everybody was at the 2013 SHOT Show when Obama was on all the monitors, and everybody in that place stopped. When Obama was up on the monitors talking about Sandy Hook, everybody's like, "Oh my God, what's about to happen to everybody in this room?" There was a really weird tension going on, but this time it was almost like this relaxed, like celebratory feel. You know, you could see it in people's posture, in the way they're kind of like jovial about it to each other. And I think it was really interesting to just be there and be a part of it and watch it. You know, I was on my way to get more coverage, but I like on my way, it's just, there it is. And everybody's just celebrating the fact that we may be in a good spot for a few years. You know, I think that's it was a moment of unity for the firearms industry at SHOT Show.
That's really cool to hear. That's awesome, and that's kind of the perspective I've been seeing ever since the inauguration is that, good things might actually start happening in, our firearms community versus, these last 8 years, just one thing after another coming across the pipeline, making us wonder what's the next ball to drop here. So hunting groups applaud Trump's pick for the USDA head. Apparently,
I didn't even see who he picked. Who did he pick?
I think he's the
Sonny Perdue.
Yeah,
Georgia.
former Georgia governor.
yeah.
So, I mean, this is pretty important because, this department oversees several agencies, including the Forest Service, and they manage 193 million acres of public lands, many of which, are used for hunting, shooting sports. Out west, many places where you can just go out and plank on BLM land. So it's pretty important to have a guy that understands the wildlife scene, the hunting scene, the gun owner, sportsman, advocate type of perspective.
Not stealing water rights from ranchers, trying to seize property from individuals, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, whereas in the past, we've had quite the opposite. Someone that's much more focused on protecting this land from everyone and trying to grab up more of it. And when I say protecting, I put that in air quotes.
Is he going to remove the Bureau of Land Management?
Be a good step.
I think that's actually run by Homeland Security, though. So
How does that make any sense?
It doesn't. It's the U.S. government.
Yeah.
None of it makes
well, no,
sense.
Department of Homeland Security
Exactly.
actually oversees FBI and a whole bunch of other, even TSA. So when everyone says Homeland Security ordered 100 billion rounds, like, cool, like you're just cherry picking like data because it actually is aggregating down to all the different divisions of Homeland Security.
All right, let's touch on this repeal the NFA petition on whitehouse.gov. It showed up a few days ago here. So far, only 2,500 signatures, and there's a goal of 100,000.
This is nonsense, okay? Because I signed this a couple days ago. I promoted it on my personal pages. I promoted it on my company page. I've seen so many people across Facebook and Instagram do the same thing. I want to say that as far as like gun-related petitions go, this one I've seen more places than others in the past. And those others that I've seen in the past have met their goal of 100,000 signatures relatively quick. I cannot believe that the numbers are this low on it. And this is like several days later.
I can.
No, see, I know what you're saying. You guys keep saying that it's like, oh, nobody's responding to their email, or whatever. What I'm saying is, there's 25,000 people, at least 25,000 people that own silencers in this country.
It's not about that. It's about the fact that we are not in a political climate where people are on edge, right? So they don't feel
100%.
threatened, so they're not acting as much, right? Like, it's up to us. Go ahead, Matt.
Whitey had a perfect little rant on Facebook and Instagram the other day, and he talked about, if you want to see stuff like this pass and stuff like what happened in California not happen to your state, then get out there and do something. And however many people it was in California, all of those 3%ers, when less than 1% shows up, it's funny. I hear it all the time in mass. Oh, don't worry about it. Trump's going to take care of this. Trump's going to take care of that. Trump ain't taking care of that.
Obama gonna pay my light bill.
Yeah, that's on the people, man. Get out there and do it, plain and simple. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, pass the petition around, this, that, and everything else. Hey, the fact of the matter is you actually have to get out there and do it. And people are just, they're going to sit back on their laurels for the next 2 years because they go, oh, we have a president now that's pro-gun, so let's just see what happens instead of being proactive. If I guarantee you, like John just said, if Hillary had gotten into office, that petition would have 200,000 signatures on it right now because people would actually give a damn. Right now, they're just like it's easy sailing right now. Everybody think that Trump's he's gonna take care of everything. It's not gonna be the case.
I'm going to argue that, but I know what you guys are saying because we've talked about this before in the past about other issues. I'm just saying that, like, I don't think this is a lack of interest. I think something's wrong with the petition.
I'd also like to point out that a petition doesn't necessarily mean anything is going to get done in Washington.
Well, it would be curious how, if this site is completely ignored by the Trump administration, because I felt like WhiteHouse.gov was largely ignored by the Obama,
Because it was.
Of course it was. So I'd like to point out, once you scroll past the repeal the NFA thing, you scroll down to popular petitions. The one that shows up immediately released Donald Trump's full tax returns with all information needed to verify whatever that word is, clause compliance. Now, the point there is that's got 375,000 signatures. Who cares? Like this is what happened to change.org, and it's what's happening to these petition websites, the White House thing, right? This is a way for people to just feel like they've been kind of justified. Like, oh, I did something.
Like the Women's March.
Yeah, but it's also
that's
used.
a whole different story.
It's also used by lobby groups to show that there's enough people that they raise that much.
I'm not saying don't do it, because I think it's important to let our voices be heard. That's what other people have done with Donald Trump's tax returns. That's apparently a big deal for some people. I definitely think it's important to sign. I think we as a community and people with a larger voice than some really need to lean on people. I'll
tell you what, being out in Vegas this last week is kind of weird, looking up at the giant skyscraper building that our president owns, as opposed to some rundown rec center in Chicago that our last one used to maybe attend.
Oh my God.
All right, moving on. Federal judge on Trump's SCOTUS shortlist issues major Second Amendment decision regarding the city of Chicago's ban on gun ranges. Basically, Chicago continues to develop laws that outlaw the existence of gun ranges anywhere within the city limits. They'll impose can't be within so many feet of residential districts, can't be in so many feet of this building and that building and places of worship and schools. And so it basically makes it completely impossible for a gun range to open in the city of Chicago. And so this is the second time it's been struck down. And apparently this judge is actually on the short list for Trump's Supreme Court pick, which is interesting as well. So that might give some hope to the city of Chicago for getting on gun range eventually.
I mean, I thought the whole city was a gun range.
I was waiting for
that. Two-way range.
The largest outdoor shooting range in America, Chicago.
With real live action targets.
That's right. Well, Trump also said to the city of Chicago, stop the carnage or the feds will come in. He's going to send the feds in.
What?
I want to see that.
The problem isn't oh my God. So Chicago is run by a bunch of morons. Until they're gone, it's going to continue. Why is this there's some kind of confusion here?
How do you know it's not what he means, though?
What's that?
How do you know it's not what he means? That he's going to oust the people that are there in power and put actual people to actually do something.
He doesn't have the right to do that.
Somebody's got to do something.
He could also make them actually enforce the laws. Just
right.
Throwing that out there.
Right.
Because so many people plead down for BS. Is that okay, Jake? I said BS.
It's okay. I don't know. It's a good thing I'm not president. I would just wall off Chicago and say we're done with it.
Build that wall.
Escape from LA.
Gift it to Canada.
Escape from Chicago.
Here you guys go.
Canada. Here's Chicago. We don't want it.
Never violent again.
You can have Obama too.
NRA files lawsuit challenging Massachusetts assault weapon ban.
Thank you.
What's going on here, Matt?
So apparently the NRA stepped up and they got involved with what's going on in Mass as far as the assault weapons ban, where we can't sell any AR-15 or AK-47 or FAL variants or anything like that in the state. Basically saying it's unconstitutional. It violates, our rights as gun owners in the state. There's a huge campaign that's been going on. It's called Healy Hurts Families, and it's about the Attorney General, Mara Healy, and basically how she's put a bunch of gun shops out of business because, there's currently all these rules and restrictions. There's a gun store in, I'll use my Boston accent, in Worcester, Mass, that recently just got fined $50,000 for selling Glocks in the state.
They're unsafe, Matt.
They're very unsafe, and part of the fine was because they sold Glocks to law enforcement officers or law enforcement, however whatever. I hate you all. And they may or may not have been for official duty use. So police officer comes in, has his badge, has his ID, wants to buy a gun that is may or may not be for duty or off duty or undercover, whatever it is, and there's no way of the gun store knowing that, unless they have a letter from the chief, which a lot of them still bring a letter from the chief. The law in the state doesn't say that we need to sell them a gun with a letter from the chief. And this is what's going on is she's sending all these essentially trolls in to go into gun shops and to try and, make a quote unquote illegal purchase, which is a purchase of a off-list, non-approved gun, and then whacking shops with a $5,000 fine per gun. So,
is this in addition to the NSSF suing her?
Yeah.
Oh, crap! See, this is something that a lot of people have been talking about with Adam, right? Because Adam is running for NRA Board of Directors. By the way, you can go vote right now. The ballots are out. A lot of people have been saying like, oh, well, when the NRA gets behind states like Massachusetts, hey, numbnuts, this is exactly what they're doing. And more people like Adam that give a damn is going to change the NRA and force them to do things like this.
See, the issue is, though, John, and this is what a lot of people don't understand, they don't see, is the NRA isn't a bottomless pit of money. When the NRA calls and they ask for, new members and, buy this and buy that, and people are like, oh, screw the NRA, they get enough of my money. The NRA currently has to fight, or they're going to fight the Massachusetts legislation, and she's using taxpayers' money, so that it's a bottomless pit of money for her as far as a court battle goes, So
well, not only that, but there's division between the NRA and the NRA ILA. A lot of people still don't realize that.
Right. So
Matt,
yeah, go ahead.
Where did Paul Revere ride?
No, man. Where are you going with this one?
Wait, a Bunker Hill?
In Mass? Was it in Mass?
Yeah, Lexington, Concord, Bunker Hill.
Where did we throw tea? Where did we throw tea in a harbor?
In the harbor.
What the hell is happening in Massachusetts? I hope they sue the crap out of her, and I hope all the liberals have to pay for every last dime of their stupidity.
The issue is, and we talked about it before on the show. They threw in the harbor. We talked about it before in the show. There's only 400,000 gun owners in this state.
I hope Harvard students that are fighting in their safe spaces have to pay more of their college tuition to fight off the NRA. That's my thought.
You cut out.
No, I don't.
No, that was you.
No, I didn't hear.
Yeah, it was fine. Okay, moving on. California Senate exempts itself from California gun laws.
Wait a second. Wait, no. California politicians are corrupt.
And California also accidentally exposes personal info of 3,500 firearms instructors.
Wait, come on.
I'm sure it was an accident.
Come on. They know exactly what they're doing.
But I saw they want to succeed, or what do you say?
Secede.
Yeah, there you go. They want to branch off, be their own little communist country or whatever you call it. So
see you later. Don't let the door hit you in the San Andreas Fault on the way out.
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, right.
Arizona,
catch me outside.
Arizona trooper.
How about that?
How about that?
I'm so glad that made that into an episode. That's perfect.
Arizona trooper saved by armed passerby.
Not what I expected.
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting story, especially because a good Samaritan came forward to kind of give a statement a few days afterwards. And so essentially what happened here, there was like a rollover car accident. The trooper pulled over to help the people, and he was throwing down flares to get the traffic off to the side, and he was attacked by the driver and shot, and then struggle ensued, and he was the trooper was having his head pounded to the asphalt when this good Samaritan rolled up, who is a licensed legal concealed carrier, and was able to save the trooper's life by shooting the armed or the dirtbag here. But what's really interesting, a few days later, the Good Samaritan came forward, and I don't know why do you want to take it from here? You said
he was not what everyone paints a picture of, a concealed carrying American citizen looks like. And I think it's really interesting because the moment he started talking at his press conference, I immediately thought of John, because John had been on This Week in Guns, I think a year or two ago, and had a pretty fixed point on felons owning firearms. And this guy was a convicted felon. And he petitioned, and he got his right to own a firearm back, and he has gauged ears. He has tattoos everywhere on his neck. He wears the same glasses as me, which makes him even more awesome. And what it boils down to is the new face of the NRA is exactly who people like all of us in this chat here are basically needing to pay more attention to, because it's not your crusty old white dude played by John Goodman in The Big Lebowski. It is not that guy anymore. It is now the guy who is probably 28 years old, wearing cargo shorts and flip-flops, but he's packing,
it's
a Glock
like
26.
I mean, the guy's a little bit older, but I would still wrap him up into what I call the gun culture 2.0 crowd, right? Yeah. Like my tattoo artist, right? I wrote an article about this for Recoil about Mike Bortner, a buddy of mine. I think several of you guys met Mike. But Mike has gauged out ears. His nickname, I call him Face Tattoo, because he has face tattoos and gauged out ears and like all the ink, right? And the thing is, this is America. If you can do whatever you want as long as you don't hurt anybody in my book, right? So Mike and the rest of the artists at his studio, they all are CCW holders. They all I think it's great because it was a slow day at the shop. They just close up shop and they go train. They go shoot their pistols. But the thing is, if you saw these guys on the street, you would oh, these scumbags, they look like bad guys, right? And what a lot of people visualize a bad guy to look like. But in reality, these are good guys that would come to your rescue. I guarantee they come to your rescue if somebody was in need. And that's what I'm saying is the whole, we talk about judging a book by its cover and what a gun owner looks like. And it's not a set thing. That's one of the reasons I think why I love the firearms community so much, because it doesn't matter who you are. You can be black, white, Asian, whatever it might be, whatever race, color, creed, and this becomes a common interest. And you make friends on the range. You make friends at matches and at gun shows and at SHOT and stuff like that. It's the most beautiful part of the melting pot that is the United States.
Eloquent.
Absolutely. Pledge your support for this show. Firearmsradio.tv/pledge. You can support the show for as little as a cup of coffee a month. That's right. For as little as $5 per month, you can support This Week in Guns. Head on over to firearmsradio.tv/pledge. All right, let's take a stab at this new rapid fire segment where you're going to each get 1 minute. We're going to take turns on the single topic. 1 minute to say anything you want to say about this topic. And if you don't want to say anything, just say pass when I say your name. You get one extension during this segment. You can get a 1 minute extension.
Did we figure out what we're doing? Can we trade minutes or no?
No trading minutes.
I'm all about the minute black market.
No trading minutes.
Yep.
So,
Nate, I'm just saying, I got some minutes for you, though.
Let me hold some of them minutes, John.
Army picks the Sig P320 to replace the M9. And companion story for this, you can also comment on. U.S. may only have been paying $207 per pistol for the new SIGs. Nate Murr, you are on the clock.
I'm going to spend the first 50 seconds talking about how terrible the Beretta M9 is, and the 10 remaining seconds talking about good. This is our third service pistol in the last 100 years. And as much as I wanted them to go with a Glock 17 or a Glock 19, I'm glad to see them go with a more modern handgun that is it's gonna be so much easier for unit armors to maintain. And I think it's gonna be an easier pistol for Marines and soldiers and sailors and airmen to train on, and hopefully increase combat survivability and accuracy. The end.
Okay. Nate Schultz, your impression. 1 minute.
Well, I don't know a tremendous amount about handguns. I'm more of an AR-15 guy. It's one area I'd like to learn more about. But I do know that just with having friends and family members in the military, and Murr said it perfectly, I have never heard a good thing about the the Beretta. So I think it's great. I'm glad that they got a new option out there. And I'm a big fan of SIG personally. So I'm like, hey, cool, that's awesome.
All right, DeVito.
I think it's a good idea because it's a striker fired gun. I don't have enough time behind a Sig 320 to say it was a great idea. Like Murr said, I would have preferred seeing a Glock 17 or a Glock 19, but I think it's a step in the right direction as far as getting away from the old, either a single action or a single double with the like that. And I like the modularity of the 320 platform myself, but like I said, step in the right direction. We'll see how it plays out.
John.
So Sig won this contract over Glock because they underbid them. They're losing money on these guns. However, I think it's a smart play. I think that this is going to have a drastic impact on Sig in the next few years. And I am excited, like some other people are. I saw a meme going around on the internet about surplus M9s. I think it would just be cool to have one.
I think it'd be cooler to get one of those like several million 1911s that are still in storage for the last 70 years. But
yeah, but we have a better chance of getting an M9.
Why?
Because the government is holding the 1911s in the South Pacific.
That's not the only place they are, but all right.
All right, Josh.
I'm actually very surprised they went with the SIG, and I think the only reason, and it explains it a lot, is the actual cost per unit. I have not had a chance to play with the one pictured, which is what I believe to be the one. I believe the U.S. military requires you to have a manual safety on it. It also looks like it has built-in RMR cuts. I do not consider the 320 to be a modular pistol because it's a matter of the entire grip coming out from the trigger, and the trigger is a serialized item, and like that's it. It's not like, I don't know, to me modularity means like you could do more than just change the grip, but I'm not the U.S. government, so. And I love the color. I hope they eventually offer this color to the public. I've shot.
What color is that?
It's like it's not like a normal flat dark earth, or even the flat dark earth that they make. It's a little bit more muddier, like somewhere between, I would say, like an FNH flat dark earth and a Dale Defense flat dark earth. More like a wet sand.
Oh my God!
A wet
more
sand.
of a mauve color.
We need to go to Ethan Allen and get a color chart.
But in actuality, I'm actually very surprised when I did a review and when I shot this, and I still own one. I found it to be a little bit more snappier or flippier without a weapon light on it feeling. I've never dealt with a M9. I've shot a 92F, which I believe is the same thing. But
Same thing. Yeah.
Okay, time. Next question here is longtime AR maker Olympic Arms is going out of business. What's your impressions? Nate Murr.
Who's going out of business?
Olympic Arms.
Oh,
Are they a new company?
exactly.
That's all I have to say about that.
Nate Schultz.
I only know about Olympic just from, reading books and stuff and history about AR-15s and everything. I know that they were one of the first commercial. I believe they were one of the bigger ones too. But it's always sad to see someone that has company history with producing firearms go out of business, obviously. But like Nate said, who? Because I mean, where have they been for the last, I don't know, even 10 years? I don't see anything new or anything. So it's just bound to happen. I mean, it's just a natural progression, I guess. You're not going to keep up with competition or anything. So I guess it's not really a surprise.
DeVito.
They were really never known for their quality. So I guess it's not that big of a loss. I'm just wondering if I should go out and buy a Olympic Arms 93 pistol, because they were one of the first people to do AR pistols, and maybe in 10 years it'd be worth something instead of nothing. I think this year you're going to see a lot of companies, smaller companies. I'm surprised a larger company, but you may see a lot of smaller AR companies go out of business because the market's going to be flooded. But it is what it is.
John?
They did it to themselves. Way to go, guys. You are proving everybody correct about crappy customer service and crappy products in the AR industry. That's all I got to say.
Whitey.
Next.
You know, in this day and age of the AR-15 boom we've had for the last 3 or 4 years, I mean, it's how could an AR manufacturer go wrong? John, do you think it really was the customer service and the crappy product?
So this was brought up, in social media, and every place I saw it come up, everybody was just like, "LOL, they screwed themselves." Quite literally, like they had a bad reputation for having subpar parts. And this was a company that came about when the assault weapons ban was lifted originally. So you've got a company that came about and just hasn't done anything significant. I mean, can you guys think of a model number that they produce?
The only thing they made that I remember is that
I
pistol that William Dafoe carried in Clear and Present Danger when he was down in South America. That's like the one gun that I thought was cool that they made.
Who knows that?
Movie buffs. William Dafoe aficionados.
Was it the?
There was
the
a
only 90
firefight!
I like to take my Olympic Arms AR-15 pistol and check under my bed for William Dafoe's before I go to bed.
So
There's more than one?
Jake, I think this is something that we're going to be seeing a lot more of, and I kind of sighed and just said next simply because this is a topic that is just starting to kind of reach, I would say, like the general population, but it's a conversation that guys inside the industry have been having for, since the election was decided, and that is, where are all these companies going to go? And I think Olympic might be the first victim of, if you're caught fighting in the middle, you have a really good chance of not making it out alive, is what it boils down to. You're either the least expensive or you're the most expensive, and you could justify one or the other. And everyone who fights in the middle is going to start possibly dropping off. And my only advice, and I'm going to, just a prelude what I'm going to be doing with John, hopefully in a couple weeks, my advice would be stop making AR, stop making suppressors.
So I'm really confused here. Now I'm going off the timer segment here a little bit because it's my show, but I'm really confused here because I mean, Olympic Arms, it's not a bad, terrible name in the firearms industry. I mean, for the common person, it's a recognizable name. Why didn't they just sell the company? From my impression from the letter they sent out and everything is that they're just dissolving. They're not passing their
we don't know they didn't
service anything off to any other company that's going to take over for them.
What I'm saying
It's
it's
controlled
it's
through
an
the-
old name, not necessarily a good name. Like the firearms market is no different than any other market. If you don't maintain relevance, then you go the way of the dinosaur. You get forced out by the competition. It's no different than any other industry.
Whitey, what are you saying?
If you go through the comments on the Facebook page where they made the announcement, you'll see that just like last week, I guess they were putting out there, dealer applications. So this was a sudden and quick shift, and they're not saying anything. They're completely sealed lips. So it could quite possibly be.
It's a private company owned by one family from the sounds of it. So were they just like, forget this gun industry stuff. We're done for whatever reason.
Possibly.
Well,
it could be a multitude of reasons. The thing is, I think what Whitey said is right. I think this is the first of many. And I personally don't think it's a bad thing to thin the herd. They are not a company that's known for producing good quality stuff, and they're not a company that anybody really cared about. Goodbye. We don't need that. And you know, I know there's going to be people, oh, well, it's sad to see that. Who cares? Really? Goodbye. Get out.
The other thing is they could be so underwater that nobody would want to buy them anyway. So maybe that's not even an option.
Right,
On the
right.
table.
It's a good point.
And another thing to consider is maybe they didn't offer to sell because they don't want anybody to do something different than they did and change the reputation of the company, regardless of what the outside thought. They had their own opinion about their company, and maybe they were like, you know what? I don't want to give anybody the opportunity to do something with our brand that we don't approve of. So whatever, it's mine. I'm taking my ball and going home.
Okay, back to rapid fire here.
Jake, you didn't file for an extension.
I already used my extension. Okay, back to rapid fire here.
That privilege again.
We're into the SHOT Show rapid fire section. So guns.com here is an article, top 5 new handguns for 2017. I don't know where they just pulled this out of their butt, but we're going to talk about these 5 they put up here. Hudson Manufacturing H9, the Advinity Arms PD10, the CZ P10C, the Smith & Wesson MP 2.0, and the Taurus Spectrum. So comment on any or all of these or none of these. You pick. So Nate Murray, you're first. 1 minute.
Oh my God.
Can I? I'm just gonna pass. It's like sensory overload. I don't have time to think about which one I want to do.
Are you going to get the new Taurus?
No. Next.
Butt plug.
All right. Nathan Schultz. Go 1 minute.
I wish I would have seen more on the CZ. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I kind of let everything just happen naturally on my Facebook feed and stuff in reference to SHOT Show. And
We lost him.
Lost him again.
Can I spend my 1 minute commenting on everybody else's things?
No.
Hateful, salty man.
All right, he's back. All
right.
Keep going, Nate.
yeah, I was just saying that everything seemed to be kind of focused around the H9. I wish I would have seen more about the CZ. It looks interesting. That's about all I got, though.
All right, DeVito, 1 minute.
H9 was cool. I honestly think the best handgun at SHOT Show was probably the M&P 2.0. Ooh.
Why is that?
They did everything right. There's nothing wrong about that gun. They listened to what everybody wanted, and they came out with a way better gun than the M&P 1.0, I guess you could say. Again, I'm excited about the Hudson. I think that I'm super excited about the Taurus, obviously. But the M&P 2.0, I think, is if more gun companies listened to what people wanted, there'd be more M&P 2.0s out there, and there'd be less Tauruses out there. So
Interesting. John, 1 minute.
Okay, so this is literally a list of what guns people talked about at SHOT Show. There were no other handguns that anybody gave a damn about. Like this is such a crappy list of guns. Like, oh yeah, so I went through everybody else's feed and this is what I saw. So here's a list.
It's like picking the prettiest cashier at Walmart.
Right. Like this is so lame. The Taurus Spectrum, I guarantee it's going to be junk. I don't care. Taurus is garbage. The 2.0, sure. The CZ, I think what Nate said is interesting. I think the reason we didn't see a lot about the CZ P10C is simply because they announced it months ago, and that kind of hype had like worn off a little bit, and people were more concerned about the 2.0 and the H9. Is that a minute?
Yep.
John.
Why did
Nobody.
Go ahead, Matt. Say something first.
I'm saying nobody talked about the Maxim pistol.
The Maxim 9?
I did.
Whose timer's going?
That's Jake's.
That's your 1 minute alarm.
All right, so I'm going to start at the top, go bottom. We'll do a lightning round personally. So the Hudson, I don't care what anybody says. If you haven't shot it, you know what the hell you're talking about. Plain and simple. It is a double stack 9mm that literally has a fantastic trigger. It is a brand spanking new thing. The one we all test fired was literally a pre-production model. It feels like a compact 1911 in your hands, and it's a double stack 9. It's awesome. It's going to be great, and it's especially in its version 2. Moving on, Avidity Arms. I felt the 3D printed model back when Pincus was in town. We'll see what happens when I fire it. It looks all funky like a Glock had sex with a Springfield. CZP-10. Heard a lot about it before. Never got a chance to really shoot it. CZ makes good stuff. Assumably it'll be great. No hype around it. M2.0. Definitely agree with Matt 100%. Super firm, super rigid. All the things everyone wants except for a GD safety. Taurus. You couldn't make a more feminine pistol if you tried. It doesn't matter what color you wrap it in.
You're good at this, Whitey. He's done.
Way to go. Okay.
They had a factory recall on their press release.
Oh, it's epic.
That is a quote of the night.
Oh,
Bravo, Mr.
somebody
Winner.
quote that. Put it somewhere.
Hashtag that.
Oh my god.
Okay.
That was brilliant. How do you recover from that?
Oh my god.
Suppressors at SHOT
Brutal.
Show.
Ooh.
I'm still
Murder.
laughing about the press release.
Like, seriously, like every other show, we have a Taurus factory recall.
Did they get sued for the pink
Plaque is
color?
running, Murr.
I don't know if Nate has ever said anything funnier.
When you guys don't let me talk, it gives me time to think of witty things to say.
45
Not
seconds.
necessarily a bad thing.
You're running over time, bro.
Clock's
You
ticking.
might need an extension.
Suppressors of SHOT, Murr. Your impressions.
I mean, a can is a can is a can. I think what's cool is that price seems to be coming down on certain suppressors. The big boys that are releasing like their 2.0 or their improved versions of existing designs, that usually forces the price down on the previous generation of can. I'm not gonna lie, like suppressors are suppressors to me. As long as they're below hearing safe and they have the right tone, I don't really care who makes them. You know, as long as they're priced right and they last, you know, more than a couple thousand rounds. I see, you know why everybody gets into the suppressor game? Because it's huge margins. That's why you have more and more people making suppressors. But
Time. Nate Schultz, suppressors of SHOT.
I didn't see much, honestly, on my feed in reference to suppressors. Saw a lot of silencer stuff, but I don't know. I really don't have much. I'm still kind of new to suppressors with it being newly, introduced as legal in Minnesota. So
That's right. You guys got them
That's all
just
I
a
got.
few years ago. Or
it was just like a year and a half ago, I think.
a year and a half ago. Wow. Hopefully Illinois will join your ranks sooner here.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think. It's awesome.
Matt DeVito, 1 minute.
Big fan of the new YHM cans. I think they are somebody helped me out with the name on that can was Whitey.
Turbo.
Yep, thought so. I didn't want to misspeak. The Turbo, it's a can that's MSRP $489. Retails probably be somewhere around $400. I can buy 3 of those cans and dedicate them to 3 AR-15s for the price of one of my Surefire SOCOM cans, and they sounded great at the range. Aside from that, I was super excited to actually get to shoot the Wolverine from Dead Air. The AK can. I've had one on order for a little bit. It actually came in like the day before we left for SHOT. So I was excited to put some rounds downrange with that. And, I think this year we've been talking about it, kind of candidly off camera. This is going to be a year for suppressor companies. I think you're going to see a lot of companies like Smith & Wesson, Ruger. They're going to come out with their own. Well, Ruger already has a suppressor, but it doesn't work that well. But like Smith will come out with their own
All right,
suppressor.
time. John,
Time.
1 minute.
Okay, so the Maxim 9, I gave them an award for that gun. It comes apart super easy. I think it's one of the best things that Silencer Co. has done in a few years. Beyond that, the YHM Turbo, again, I'm going to reinforce that one. Fantastic. They may have also gotten something from me. I think that can does a lot for suppressors in general from a big established brand. I think that's awesome. There were a few I wish I had seen. I wish I got to see the Dead Air Wolverine, and I wish I got to see the Gemtech. People were talking about an integral Gemtech and stuff. The Liberty, they have a new 458 titanium can. That's really cool. And I think suppressors are going to be a new thing going forward. We've established that they're awesome. HPA kind of messed with that. And now, all the suppressor manufacturers are kind of panicking and trying to be like, guys, it's going to be a couple years. Keep buying cans so we can stay in business until that goes in.
Time. Whitey, 1 minute.
Honestly, I think a lot of the unknowns that were really great. And listen, Yankee Hill's been around for a long time. They have started to actually take a harder look at aesthetics as well as how it actually works and attaches. And I think the turbo is huge value. I think Matt is spot on with that. Another one that nobody seems to be talking about is the stuff from Q. Q has this new one called the Erector, and it's literally the serialized baffle is the actual enclosure. You can screw more baffles on. So you could have anywhere from 3 to 10 baffles. And I've never heard Full Metal Jacket 22 LR sound like subs. It was stupid quiet. So I really loved the Erector. I really loved the Yankee Hill stuff. And I didn't hear much from Silencer Co., especially marketing leading up to it, whereas last year they did this huge push. The Maxim looks amazing. I know it's been several years in the works. It'd be nice to see more about it or hear more from Silencer Co. about it. Everything else kind of just faded away. SOCOM, the SOCOM line and all that fun stuff from Surefire didn't make a big ruckus. Dead Air was big as well.
All right. Concealed carry guns of SHOT Show. I think there was enough there to talk about.
Nope.
No. What about the new Savage guns?
The ARs?
I didn't look at them.
The 10s looked awesome, but the 15s were meh.
So the 10s look good. You handled them?
I didn't handle them, but I saw a bunch of pictures on their booth of the new 10s, and it's great because it looks like a less expensive or more affordable daily defense a little bit when it comes to how they mate the rail with the receiver. But the 15s did not have that same luster.
I want to wait on a review for their AR-10 because I've had nothing but terrible experience with AR-10 derivative rifles from my military time to this very day. There's only one company that makes an AR-10 that I would trust my life on out of every single AR-10 I've carried or shot.
Which one's that?
That's Grey Ghost Precision. I'm not gonna lie, 100%. I would take one of those over SR-25 any day of the week.
Interesting.
Really?
Yeah, reliability and accuracy. That's the two things that AR-10s suffer at. Reliability, especially.
The Savage rifles, they came out with a new B series of rimfire bolt action guns, and I think that's kind of interesting. I'm not really sure why they did it. I think the stock looks great, but the Mark series, I think it's Mark II guns. I've got one of their. I think it's the FBSR threaded gun. Like I would rather have that because it's more affordable. These are going to be like a $400 gun, and I'm not super impressed with that. I'd rather have a $200 bolt action gun, and the Mark II is like a super accurate little 22. I don't think you can really beat that.
All right, we're going to do one word response for this. One word
Ooh,
response.
Okay.
Booth Babes of SHOT Show 2017. Nate Mert.
I feel this is like a trick question because I had several at my booth. Well, there's
one word.
One word. I can't do it in one word. I'm sorry. No, there's a lot of quality. Quality would be the word.
There we go. Nate Schultz.
Typical.
DeVito.
Yeah, I can't do it in pass. Can't do it in one word.
John.
Gross.
Whitey.
Clean? I couldn't find the one word for less visible STDs. So, but honestly, classier. Maybe that one. Maybe
So the pictures in these two articles that we're looking at in our show notes, I'm struggling. I'm struggling to find one that I'm like, oh wow, maybe the first girl on the day two.
All right, this is open to comment.
Completely objectifying these women.
This is Hey, we're honoring the Women's March, right?
Are we?
I-
Is that
I
what we're
don't know.
doing here, Jake?
But I do
Mag-
think classier is a good way of putting it, though. I mean, they're all
Yeah.
fully dressed. and-
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Gotta give them that.
women don't buy like low cut shirts and short skirts and spend lots and lots of money on makeup to impress other women. There's something like deeply rooted in their brains that make them vain for attention of men. So as a red-blooded American male who likes machine guns and muscle cars and cool Jeeps and blowing shit up, I like seeing attractive women.
Timestamp.
That's
Timestamp. Throw the flag, Jake. Throw the flag.
Hashtag
Throw the
gun
flag.
money timestamp.
Spit it out.
I like seeing attractive women, so I don't
Where's
really
his
care.
veto?
I don't get upset about it.
I want to know who took these pictures.
They're awful, aren't
Somebody with a
Yeah.
really harsh slash.
You know what? Whitey, there was no diffusing there. That's a shame.
No
Nice.
They don't
Nice.
even know. They don't even know your talents.
They don't. They don't.
Real quick, open comments. Magpul celebrates 10 years of the PMAG.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Golf clap.
I think we had a little roundtable discussion at the house, and John said something kind of profound is Magpul has kind of set the precedent for what a company wants to be as far as innovation, constantly bringing stuff to market and constantly being there for the industry. I mean, the display they had was amazing. From the first prototypes to mags that came from the Bin Laden raid. I mean, that was probably one of the coolest things to see at the show. But and John can put it in his own words better. I mean, you want to talk about staying power in the industry and kind of a brand to want to be like. I mean, they've killed it every year at SHOT with something new and different, whether it's a 40-round mag, a 60-round mag, a pouch, a belt, shirts, whatever it is. They're doing it right.
I offered them the first PMAG that I ever purchased back in 2004 from them for their display, and they turned me down. They said they were too worried that somebody might steal it. So anyway, it was a pretty cool display that I had for the history of the PMAG. And as a huge fan of all Magpul products, I think it's really cool to commemorate it that way. I think it's super cool that the Gen 3 PMAG is now the official issue magazine in the United States Marine Corps. That makes me very happy as a Marine. And I think it's also great that the Marine Corps specifically says that the new Army EMAG is restricted to training use only, because the Army spent a lot of money trying not to give Magpul their Army dollars. So it's a cool company. I mean, they set the trend and they keep their momentum and they stay relevant. And I want to see them keep doing that. The only thing that I think is a little bit funny is that they brought up that the Masada rifle today.
Yeah,
There was a post about the Masada, and there was so much hate on that thread. It's so beautiful because I'm one of those people that had their heart broken by a Masada. If there's one mistake that Magpul ever made, it was selling that gun to Bushmaster, selling the rights off. But aside from that, I mean, like, you can't. It's hard to fault them. They make good quality stuff here in America.
Man. They thought they were going to get done right. Hindsight's always 20/20. Masada, had Magpul done it, we may not be looking at Magpul right now. They may have failed. We don't know. Maybe they did it for financial reasons. Again,
I think they decided to stay with what they knew, which is they don't make a single firearm, and that was a gun they went from concept to functional prototype in 30 days. As a rifle manufacturer, I'm going to tell you right now, that's like next to impossible. That's like World War II. They went from the concept of the P-51 Mustang to it being on an assembly line in 30 days. That's like unheard of. There has to be a lot of dollars for R&D to do it that fast, and they did. So I don't think it was. They were scared that they weren't going to make money. I think they had to say, what's our core value as a manufacturer? Sure. What do we want to focus on? That's what I think they did. And I think that they just picked the wrong person to license it to.
I had no idea that happened that fast. That is either $1 or $2 passion.
Or both.
Or both.
All right, let's touch real quick on the theft at SHOT Show.
Jackass.
Oh, the aim point?
Yeah.
I'll go first.
No, it was a Trigicon. It was an MRO.
Oh, that's right. It wasn't MRO. So it was MRO on a ADM mount, right?
Yep.
So as a company that makes a QD mount, like I have a whole line of QD mounts, which I'm telling you, there's nothing faster on the market as far as QD goes. So the thing is, like, we were actually worried about this prior to SHOT Show. So what we did was for all the SHOT Show demo units, we had them Cerakoted in bright red, so red and black, which are our company colors, but we did it as a visual indicator in case one went missing, and also because red attracts your eye and you kind of tend to keep track of it a little bit better. But I watched the security video of this guy ganking this MRO, and I was like, that's, I mean, in for a penny, in for a pound. Maybe go like steal a Maxim 9, not a MRO on an ADM mount. But I'm happy they caught the guy, so that's what matters. Because that's a fear that everybody has at exhibits, at SHOT, or any show for that matter.
Well, what was it last year? It was Landtac and their titanium bolt carrier group. It was their first one, their prototype.
Mm-hmm. A couple of years ago, somebody had stolen a Scar 17 lower because it was Handle Defense they were doing the interchangeability with them, and somebody had stolen a couple of lowers.
Wow, it's awful that that even happens in the firearms industry. So, any word on what badge that guy was wearing? What company?
I don't know. I mean, if you look in the comments on that article, there's a lot of people saying SHOT Show, as much as they pretend to clamp down on who's in there, I mean, all it takes is a cop, and this is not like shooting at cops. I want you guys to understand this. It takes a gun shop or a cop or somebody that gets extra tickets for whatever reason to bring in some jackass, that's not quote unquote vetted, right? They bring that person in, and that person goes off on their own, wastes somebody's time at a booth, and or does something stupid. It happens. This is, as much as they pretend that this is an industry only show, there are thousands of people that get in there that shouldn't be there.
All right, moving on. I totally lost my spot.
Palmetto State
Armory releasing the sub 500 AK-47 kit. I like the sound of that.
So Peony, our friend Peony, had one of their build kits. I don't know if it was like this version or whatever, but I shot it and it wasn't bad. It needed a little bit of break-in. I think like coatings and stuff were a little thick to begin with, but I shot it and it ran pretty well. That's awesome.
Very cool.
I want one.
Yeah.
They sold out already. They released them and sold out already.
You know what? Screw you, Palmetto State. I don't even like you anymore.
All right, so that was my last story. Just had a breaking story today that Zev Technologies was bought by or merged with Mega Arms.
Those are two good brands that I like, so I think only positive things are gonna happen for that merger.
Merged with, wow! That's two machining companies that know how to work some machines.
Yeah,
for lack of better terms.
Yeah.
Both products are premium grade products. Zev isn't cheap, and neither is Mega. So, I think it's a pretty strategic move on both companies' parts. So, and it's not like they didn't say in the article that Mega purchased or bought Zev. Like, they're saying that's a merger. So I think it was a collective decision to maybe unify and do some bigger projects. Maybe Mega's got the rifle game down solid, and I think Zev makes some really good pistol stuff. So I don't know. We'll see how it turns out, but I think it's going to be a good thing.
Yeah, I think that's a really positive move for both companies. Mega has a stellar reputation, and so does Zev. So it'll be cool.
All right, I'm offended. We're to the I'm offended section here, and we're going to talk the Remington RP9.
I thought we weren't allowed to talk about Remington anymore.
Well, yes, because we got a bunch of hate mail because a bunch of people got offended because we're always.
Why did people get mad?
Because we're always ripping on Remington.
Because we talk the truth. Remington hasn't done anything relevant in 20 years.
That's not true. They come out with a different color 870 every year, John.
Listen, so imagine all the hate mail you'd get if I said something about Remington and Oklahoma all in one show.
Oh man.
Oh, Matt, I love you, buddy.
So the Military Arms channel, they released a video of Tim going through the RP9, and at first it started off going all right, but then by the end of the video, it turned into a complete lemon. It was not running at all.
First off, the gun looks like a Sigma and an M&P had a baby, and this is what they came up with. Like, there's nothing really that innovative about the firearm. It's like, oh, striker fired guns are a thing now. Let's get on that, guys. Like, I don't know. Like, Remington has had so much bad luck in the last couple of years with their firearms designs. There's no small wonder they just bank on the 700 and the 870. But the thing is, like, I'm going to tell you right now, as a rifle manufacturer, as a firearms manufacturer, if you're going to send something out, especially to a channel like Mac, this is a huge channel. Everybody watches that. The industry watches that. Oh, like he bought that?
Yeah, it was at the shop and he bought it.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch that.
So this and that's exactly why he did it this way, because he didn't want a gun that, you know, was polished or done up by Remington. He went and said, "Oh, hey, that's a gun I think I might want to try out." So he bought it, and they took it out, and the thing didn't run. And I think it's a shame because we all wanted Remington to succeed. Everybody loves what Remington represents, right? We all remember Remington as a classic American
it's a piece
brand.
Of Americana. It's a piece of Americana.
Like Winchester and Colt. These brands matter to Americans, right? However, what Remington is producing is absolute trash. The fact that this gun didn't run, the magazine was failing, it didn't matter what kind of ammo they were running. I watched the whole thing, and I'm like, what's happening here? We wanted this gun to work. Everybody wanted this to succeed and help them get away from the R51, and it's just not.
It's like, I feel bad for them because it's following up the last debacle. Now they have a new one.
Hey, they did it to themselves.
I had to just cruise through the video real quick to see if it was like another VP9 meltdown or if it was actually like a bad pistol. I liked him, but that VP9 thing made me like question everything after that.
All right. So you guys can all check out the video over at the Military Arms channel.
Matt DeVito loves Oklahoma.
Also have Remington send out a letter reminding people that they're owners of a class action suit involving the Model 700s. So that's another, thing about Remington. And then Remington trigger cause of Wisconsin man's death lawsuit says $75,000 lawsuit against Remington.
The 700 has probably had more lawsuits than any other Remington design, and that gun's been out since like 1950s or early 60s, and it's all because of the trigger, which I think is really weird because both the Army and the Marine Corps issued the M27 and the M40 sniper rifle, and both those had factory Remington triggers. So it's like you think about two of the biggest branches of service that shoot more rounds than anybody. If it was going to be that big of an issue, then I think we would have figured it out like back during Vietnam at the very least. But yeah, I don't know. I don't understand like why there's so many lawsuits with this trigger. Apparently it's like the fit, and they are known to randomly go off on certain people.
I'd be curious to see the timeline between when Freedom Group bought them and when these things started happening.
Yeah, but these lawsuits for the 700 go back way before.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I'd like to see the timeline of like, did it ramp up or has it just been crap?
Okay, I see what you're saying. Actually, I would like to see that.
You know what I mean?
That's
like,
really interesting.
I don't know where in their timeline Freedom Group acquired Remington and all their brands, but looking here, they've got Remington, Bushmaster, Military, Marlin, Tapco, DPMS, Barnes. I didn't know was owned by Freedom Group, Para USA, and some other brands that nobody cares about, like Advanced Armament. I think,
wow,
I think that's really interesting because everybody constantly says Freedom Group ruined Remington. Well, were they having problems before Freedom Group was involved?
They definitely had problems with that trigger before. That I definitively know.
Right? Like when did that? What happened? That's what I'd like to know what's going on.
I look at it like a numbers 300 lawsuits and 3 million rifles sold.
Well, that's where I was going.
Yeah, percentages and stuff. Yeah,
it's like that gun. Like I said, they've been making that gun since like the late 50s or early 60s. There's probably no more prolific of a bolt action in America than 700. So
I'd agree.
So like it's it's probably a numbers game. But the other thing is QC, like quality control. Like if that trigger was assembled at 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, and it slipped through QC, that could be a factor. It could be a negligent thing, but
oftentimes they'll do a recall on a gun when they have really minimal amounts of rifles with issues, but they know they have to do it to make it right. Because if that one thing, like, you know, if they're attributing this failure the cause of someone's death, I mean, this is what they're trying to avoid by doing a recall, and good luck to them.
John, you said you had one more for the offended section?
No, that was for the silencer thing we were talking about earlier.
Oh, okay.
With SHOT Show.
All right. Officer sues Walmart for firing him for carrying a gun while working as a police officer.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Where did this happen?
So this guy works
Pennsylvania. Oh my God.
He works part-time at this Walmart store, but he also works as a law enforcement officer, and he was on duty, and he happened to stop at the Walmart store, which he also sometimes works at, to grab some lunch, as a duty officer. And he was encountered by one of his supervisors that told him that he couldn't wear a gun in the store as an employee, whether he was on the clock or off the clock. And they went so far as to call the sheriff and requested not to send this guy if the police were ever called to this Walmart. And
I feel like there's more to this story.
Exactly what I was going to say. There's got to be more to the story for sure.
Nate Schultz, what do you think about this, brother?
I don't know. It seems like this is just my gut instinct, just being in law enforcement. Like, it sounds like the officer that was working there probably I was trying to strut around, maybe. I don't know, but maybe he was purposely trying to invoke something. I don't know. It's kind of what it seems to me.
This is from Taylor, Pennsylvania, which is just south of Scranton. And like Scranton's not exactly like Philadelphia or Pittsburgh. Pennsylvania has an open carry law. You can open carry if you want. We have a very easy, I mean, if you're a law-abiding citizen and you get a CCW permit, it's like no big deal. And if the guy was on the job, on duty, I can't imagine somebody having the cojones to say something about not being allowed to have a gun. Like, I know Toys R Us has that policy too, and there's been numerous times where Toys R Us they have asked uniformed officers wearing their gun belt, wearing their uniform and badge, to politely go put their gun in the cruiser, which to me is hilarious. I'm like if somebody robs this place, do you want that same cop to come back with his gun? Or like, oh, well, the last time I was here, I got scolded for having my issue service pistol that is used to save lives, so I better leave it in the cruiser till I figure out what's going on. This is just ridiculousness. I mean, as much as I want to say, oh, maybe this guy wasn't very well liked as a security guard at Walmart when he was off, moonlighting as a security guy, I'm going to give the guy the benefit of the doubt on this one, and I'm going to say that until further details come out, I can't judge the guy.
If I had to make a snap judgment with all of my years of history in retail, this looks like, I mean, I used to work as a consultant for Best Buy from Apple. I can say that. I don't care. Sue me, whatever. But I dealt with a lot of guys that were in this situation, like part-time, especially during the holidays. Same with veterans and military, guys that were just there, just getting something done while they were working on something else. And a lot of guys in that position, especially law enforcement, military, they're used to a certain hierarchy of things. And when somebody who hasn't, and I don't want to make this sound bad, but been there, done that, or, shared blood or booze with them, is trying to tell them what to do, and they're being kind of a prick. This sounds like a conflict of personalities between a leader in the store and a leader on the streets. And maybe there was probably a little bit of conflict, and this was just a supervisor or manager not really taking a full breath of the situation.
Two alpha
exactly.
butting heads.
Two alpha males butting heads. One of them has a gun, and he's also a police
that's
officer.
exactly what I would see. And just to clarify too, like this is an officer. His full-time job is as a police officer, but as a part-time job, he also works at that Walmart. And he just happened to be working as his law enforcement job and visited the Walmart. Is that correct? That's how I was perceiving this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He went into the store he works at part-time during his full-time job as a police officer.
Yeah. Okay.
So confusing. Okay, overflow. Way too many stories to cover this week. You can check out the extra stories in the show notes at firearmsradio.tv and click the show notes. Amazon. You can contribute to the Firearms Radio Network and This Week in Guns by shopping our Amazon affiliate link. Click the Amazon banners or bookmark firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. Every time you shop with our Amazon affiliate link, a small portion of your sale goes to sport and pro gun shows like This Week in Guns. We are to the full auto news segment, stories the real media won't talk about, and other crazy stuff. Each of the hosts picks a story to call their own. John, you're ready. Go ahead.
I'm ready. This is a really, really interesting topic. It's not really firearms related totally, but I think it affects all of us here in some way. This is from a website called Kotaku, which I believe is still part of the Gawker network, which is just trash. But the topic is YouTubers face fines and possible eviction for making videos from their home. Okay, so long story short, this gamer channel, whatever, apparently they all go to this one dude's house and they make a bunch of videos and yada, yada, yada. Well, the HOA in their neighborhood got pissed because there was like one extra car or something stupid and complained. And basically they're like, listen, you're going to pay X amount of dollars a day or you are getting evicted. And depending on, I have no idea who this person is. So depending on how much money that guy brings in, that's $136 per day is what they're telling them they owe. And I believe the issue is that they're running a quote unquote business out of their home that's not supposed to be there as part of the HOA, the homeowners association. So I think this is a really interesting topic. One of the guys had a really good quote here. This is an extremely unique and rare scenario, and it poses the question: does filming and uploading YouTube videos from your home constitute the home as a business? Does it matter how many views you have or how much income you make from it? Because to be honest, I do the same thing that millions of other Americans do, and he is absolutely right. Where does that line get drawn between when it becomes a business? Because you can make supplemental income and it's not really a business. You know what? Where does that line get drawn? And I think that's really, really curious.
No, homeowner associations are the biggest scam ever devised by this country.
Oh my God!
Yes. They tell people they can't fly American flags and nonsense. That happened locally too. It is like I don't know.
Homeowner associations. It's these people that get on the boards in those, and they think they run the world, and it's just awful in every scenario.
Like range board of directors.
That's what it is. It's a bunch of busybodies that don't have day jobs. Like Betty, who plays bridge with the Smiths every Tuesday, have nothing better to do than ride their golf cart down your street to see if your flowers are in order and if you're flying an illegal American flag.
So the big thing here, I think, it isn't the YouTube thing, but it's every job. Every job is going more and more telecommute. Every job, more and more people are working from home. Maybe not full time, but maybe especially in the tech industry.
I mean, we all do that to some extent.
There's so many people working from home 3-4 days a week just because there's no reason to go into the office for what they do.
And people like that. Who doesn't want to work from home?
Right.
Who doesn't want to at least be able to work from home occasionally? This is so stupid. I hope they win their lawsuit against these people. I was just saying, here in PA, there's a homeowner association that told a mother and father whose son was deployed that they weren't allowed to fly the American flag. And they're like, but we always fly the American flag when our son's deployed. It's our little thing that we do until he comes home. And I guess they don't fly the flag because they're not allowed to, but that's like the one time they break the rules. But a bunch of guys from my old unit actually went and protested there, and they were getting fined like some ridiculous, like $500 a day for every day they flew the American flag. That makes me want to go and burn that entire suburban neighborhood down just to ashes to hear that you can't fly an American flag. That's so ridiculous, so stupid. But anyway, yeah, I hope they win. It's stupid.
Again, the views and opinions expressed on this podcast.
That is 100% Nate Murr opinion, and I'm not ashamed to say it.
All right, DeVito, what do you got?
Where'd it go? I was looking at this custom glass shotgun shell. made by some guy with some really, or I shouldn't say made by somebody, exhibited on somebody's YouTube channel. It's got a really long, tedious name. So we'll just, I don't know which one to call him.
Mouse?
Mouse. So apparently this guy thought it'd be a great idea to have his viewers send him homemade projectiles and homemade ammo that they would use for self-defense or home defense. I don't know when anybody thought that would be a good idea. This is why we can't have nice things. And apparently this is like an ATF sanction waiting to come down. This is like, can we shoulder a SIG brace or not? Loading a 12 gauge shotgun slug with this glass projectile apparently cut through a lawnmower engine. Luckily nobody was using any tannerite or anything with the lawnmower. Nobody lost a leg.
You sound like such a sissy right now.
It went through Kevlar, it went through everything, and yeah, the quote here is, if you got hit by one of these, it's over. No ifs or buts. The wound could be sealed and the bleeding stopped for a little while, but the powdered glass that has entered your bloodstream is going straight to your brain.
Dude, if you put a spitball on a 12 gauge, it's game over. So
yeah, it's just, you know, I'm sitting here and I'm watching the video and I'm like, I don't know why anybody would do this, would think of doing this, or then would thinking it's a good idea to put that information out on the internet, because somebody's going to say, "Oh, hey, I saw it on the internet."
So,
and
I'm gonna educate you on Tauflader Mouse. Guy's name is Jeff.
I
Dump that knowledge.
I know Jeff. He's been doing this for years.
Yeah,
quite literally, this is what his channel is all about. People sending him stuff, him doing really shooting
awesome.
a lot of goofy stuff out of shotguns. Like I've seen him shoot batteries, dimes, razor blades, all kinds of wacky
stacks
stuff.
of washers,
like 3D printed stuff. People machine slugs to send him, and this is literally just what he does. Hey, somebody made this. I'm going to see if it works. And dangerous or not, effective or not. I mean, this is one of the slow-mo GIF that's on this website hitting the clay block. I mean, that is terrifying how devastating that is.
Yeah,
like, that looks brutal. But it is what it is, man.
I just hope his HOA doesn't know about it.
But I agree with you to an extent, man. I think it's a fine line to walk of like what should you put out and what information can be out there. But I think at least he attempts to do it in a controlled environment.
John, what part of it do you object to about him putting it out there?
What part do I object to?
Yes.
Well, it's more so my concern for I can't say any clean word about these types of people. It's the same thing of, you know, the type of quote unquote negative influence that somebody like FPS Russia might have. It's that same person, that lowest common denominator idiot doing something stupid.
I mean, they still put warning stickers on hair dryers telling you not to use them in the bathtub.
It's just,
like, what can you do? I mean, like, I watch FPF Russia, or I watch like these videos where like Rural None and such, the kid making like exploding arrowheads and stuff, and I'm like, you expect it to go so bad, or for something tragic to happen, or for like them to break the law and get shut down, but like I still watch them because it's, at the end of the day, I look at it for what it is, which is this entertainment, not something I'm going to emulate.
So I have a quick question.
The difference is, though,
we can't save the idiots from themselves, no matter how you add it.
Go ahead, Whitey.
Are we all afraid that somewhere in the south side of Chicago, some dude is hand packing some shotgun shells, molten glass, custom shaped, and then, oh my God, I saw it on the internet. Like, is this really going to happen? Let's be honest. It's going to happen somewhere in the backwoods of Kentucky, and it's going to be like, hold my beer, watch this. And that's as far as it's going to go.
Probably Oklahoma.
You can get lost for hours on
with a Remington 870.
He puts a lot of really interesting stuff. What was the one he did where it was literally like a wax-filled like piece of Play-Doh or something like that, and it just obliterated like a 4x4. It was obscene how it was like a candlestick with putty, and it just I like watching this stuff. I wish his video quality was better, but I like watching this stuff.
All right. Nate Schultz, what do you got?
Yeah, so as far as putting stuff out on the internet, I was accused of giving away secrets or making people aware of secrets for the Secret Service or something, just by literally an observation that I just thought was
Really? Holy crap!
interesting.
Oh, I know what article you picked, Nate.
Yeah, so I posted that on my personal Facebook page, and what we're talking about is the Secret Service appears to be using fake arms to conceal a long gun. And I Googled the images of this guy, and then I just did markup on my phone and did circles and arrows. And by the next day, like, those images were everywhere.
Oh,
and
that was
like,
your post?
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't realize that.
I saw that everywhere.
Yeah, I know, that was mine. So and the number one thing is all like, why would you put this all, like, if you go to my NSC85 Facebook page, I have that post that I also posted on there. And the top comment is this guy saying, why would you put this on the internet for everyone to see? And I told him, like, I think you give me more credit than I deserve. I'm a nobody. I think you're reaching a little bit, but it like reached over like 300,000 people. So I don't know. It's just, and now every article I've seen has those images. I don't know if they were fake or not, but the guy never moved anything. And
I just want to say congratulations on creating some very successful clickbait that went viral. That's a hard thing to do, Nate. It's no small accomplishment.
I didn't even really try. I was just like, I wonder what my industry friends would think, and then it just kind of went up from there. I think it was like a gaming website or something that ended up making the first article, and it just kind of went a little bit viral. But I don't know. It was interesting to me. I was like, I don't know, the guy has the same arm posture in everything. And people were saying, well, those pictures were in succession of that one area and that one time. But there was a couple photos of him, that same agent.
Aside from that dude looking like the guy from Hitman.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about, though, specifically.
Like, it's so weird how many Secret Service guys shave their head, and they're all like 6'5" bald. It's bizarre. It's like, are you Agent 47?
That guy did look like Agent 47, though, for sure.
So what was the verdict? Did they say, like, did anybody officially say whether or not it was like real hands or fake hands? Because I saw like Soft Rep or some other terrible website said that like it's actually the guy's hands. It's not prosthetics.
Well, some people posted like little GIFs and stuff of him. By the way, John, it's GIF, not GIF. But anyway,
no, it isn't.
Of his arms moving at some point, but I don't know. It just looks. Do I dare say mechanical? I don't know. It's just. The guy's a robot for sure.
I want to say this right now. The Secret Service has some really cool stuff, and that is like CIA level cool guy stuff, okay? And they need that capability to successfully do their job. So like, would it surprise me if they had prosthetic limbs where it looks like the guy is just open hand just walking down the street, but in reality a dude has a PDW with his hands ready to rock? I mean, like, action beats reaction, right? And you think about like huge attendance events where the president, like the inauguration, is probably like a Secret Service nightmare, right? So for me, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I saw that post with the little circles that Nate Schultz made. Congratulations on the clickbait. But it captured my attention for a second because it's still one of those cool guy, like, secret squirrel things that we all want to know about. At the end of the day, whether or not they actually do or do not use those things, I really don't care. Whatever allows them to be mission successful and doing their job. So it was kind of an interesting thing to see the debate back and forth of like, they're real. No, they're not real. You're giving away state secrets. Oh my God. Why are you doing this? Why are you talking about this? It was kind of an interesting thing to see on social media this week.
All right. Nate, did you go?
Yeah, Nate just went, Jake.
Oh, did you go?
You mean me? Oh, okay. So I was kind of disappointed with my selection of articles to choose from. So I'm going to go with B-52 lands fine after engine falls off in the middle of a flight. So check this out. A B-52 Stratofortress, which has been flying since like the 1950s, right? There's only, what is it, like 72 of them left. Anyway, it's like one of America's 76 Stratofortresses currently are in service, right? So this B-52 was on a training mission, and it's got 8 turbojets, and one of them decided that it didn't want to be part of that airframe anymore, so it broke away and landed in the uninhabited part of North Dakota, which is a good thing because I'm sure like 1 ton of aluminum and steel falling to Earth probably would have killed some people if it would have landed in like Manhattan or something. But anyway, the plane landed successfully. The entire crew was safe, and nothing really happened aside from the engine falling to earth and burying itself. So anyway, there's no official statement from the Air Force saying like why it happened or what happened. But the interesting thing about this is I think B-52s are super cool because they were designed to be long-range strategic nuclear bombers back at the beginning of the Cold War. And it's actually one of the best designed airframes that we've ever issued or ever fielded in the military because it's just a very, very reliable design. At the end of the day, they haven't built these things in like forever, and they're projected to continue flying till the 2040s is what they're saying, right? But it does a very specific job, and it does that job very, very well. So things happen.
Things happen. Engines
Things
fall
happen.
out.
I mean, like these things happen, especially the older airframes. So anyway, I thought it was interesting that this even made the news. I mean, like there's that time where they, what was it? Was it they dropped? No, they didn't drop a nuke. It was something.
Yeah, they accidentally dropped a nuke.
Yeah, they accidentally dropped a live nuke. I'm just saying, you know, it's the Air Force. These things happen from time to time. I'm sure Bill got like a firm talking to by Steve when he got back to the office. You know, he might not have been allowed to go off post that weekend, but you know, it sorted itself out.
Whitey, what do you got?
Only in Florida can a guy steal a gun from Gander Mountain and then go next door and try and steal a Lincoln. It seems like a legitimate strategy.
Hey everybody, welcome to Florida, where weird stuff happens every day.
What Murph say earlier? In for a penny, in for a pound. Already jacked this gun. Might as well get a 70K freaking.
It's like my grandmother used to say: if you're gonna go down in flames.
Did she fly B-52s?
Oh.
This guy looks like he is the third in line to be hype man of a bootleg rap concert.
He looks like the guy who did the crappy Photoshop job on the mixtape album.
Gold rims with a Z.
Is he going to be staying with us in Atlanta?
I hope so.
Atlanta, get it right. Also, it's a fun little link in the chat here of GIF versus GIF. Enjoy.
Yeah, that's right. It's GIF.
Show of hands who says GIF.
Yep. Yeah, look, Matt's
Jake?
like, I don't know. Jake, which is it, Jake?
Jeff.
It's not GIF. It's graphics. The
Jeff
word
is like old school elitist web developer.
Popular opinion will have both of you wrong. So
I like the video. It's like it's not Jolden receiver.
Is it Giffy Pop or Jiffy Pop?
Well, the front page of
my peanut butter sandwich.
The front page of the internet Reddit says that it's GIF, so obviously it's GIF.
No,
Reddit can cram it in its cram hole.
As much as I like to listen to 45-year-old men living in their mom's basements.
Got
All
that
right.
going for me.
Did I miss anyone? We all went.
Did DeVito go?
Yeah. I talked about the T
yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
Anyone in for extra rounds? Anyone want to cover the Russian roulette? And
I
for
was looking at that Russian roulette with tasers. Hashtag that's going to end well. That's all I need to say.
Hashtag fall into the ocean already.
It's in San Francisco. That's why he said it.
Yeah. So feds uncover $20 million stashed in a bed in Massachusetts.
Matt, why didn't you
In
put
cash.
that money in a bank?
You should see what the rest I have stashed.
In your butt.
Yeah.
Diamonds.
Oh. Instead of blood diamonds. Well, they might be bloody. Jake,
boy.
look what you've done.
Oh, we're done. All right. Pledge your support for this show at firearmsradio.tv/pledge. Pledge for as little as a cup of coffee a month.
Or a blood diamond.
Firearms Radio. patreon.com/pledge. Patriot Patch Company helps make this episode possible. Check out the Patch of the Month Club. There's a few short days where we're taking new enrollments. February Patch of the Month is going to be shipping here in a few weeks. So if you're not already a subscriber, check it out. And we also have new pre-orders up for It's Not a Leak 4x4 patch and some new head stamp patches, including 22 LR, 12 gauge, and 5.7. PatriotPatch.co. This is the part of the show where we see what these guys are up to and where you can connect with them online. So, Nate Murr, what's up and where can people connect online?
Well, now that SHOT's over and I got to sleep for like 20 hours and my mind is back, we launched a couple, kind of soft launched a couple new products at SHOT. KDG has a new 13.5-inch AR rail coming out within the next couple weeks. And we also have a few other products that I'm not supposed to talk about. So we have a bunch of exciting things coming out soon. And if you want to be kept abreast of those releases, I suggest you follow us on Facebook, Connect Development Group. Just type it in. And the same thing with Instagram, which is something that I favor over Facebook anyway. But that's where you can find out what's the latest and greatest with the company. And if you want to harass me personally, you can always follow GripStop on Instagram and see what I'm up to personally. Very cool.
Jake, did you die?
Is
you're
Jake
muted.
muted?
Yeah.
Like everyone just like froze on purpose just to make it awkward as hell.
Wait, did you fake freeze? Nate, NSC85 on YouTube, what's up and where can people connect online?
Yeah, so obviously YouTube. My basement or shop flooded, so I haven't been too active as far as making videos in my shop, but I have picked up on photography, so if you like to see a guy who's just passionate about guns and stuff. I have a website, nsz85.co.
And he really did freeze. Okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
There we go. And NSC, what was your website and social?
Yep, just nsz85.co and Instagram, NSC85. That's where I'm most active.
Very cool. And Matt DeVito, what's up and where can people connect?
Oh, I don't know. What is up? I'm going to be at the Great American Outdoor Show in 2 weeks with a couple of the guys here. It's in PA. If anybody wants to come out, say hey. Maybe we can book a hunt together. Maybe you can punch me in the face, whatever you want to do. DRF training on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, all that stuff. Also, all my hunting stuff, Matt DeVito Hunts on Instagram. Maybe I'll get a website up one day for it. That's about it.
Matt, what days are you going to the Great American Outdoor Show?
Oh, you want somebody to punch me in the face? The 8th to the 8th to the 12th.
Very cool. John, where can people connect and what's up?
SHOT Shows, what's up? Go watch all the videos on the Gun Collective for all the coverage that we did. It was, I think, 24 total videos. Last one is coming out tomorrow. And yeah, that's going on. I'm going to see Whitey and Mr. DeVito here in a couple weeks for the Great American Outdoor Show. I will be there as well. Most likely the last Saturday and Sunday is when we're going to be actually on the show floor, that time frame. So yeah, come see us, say hi, punch Matt in the face, touch Whitey's butt, whatever you want to do. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. And I am now starting to transition to focus on NRA annual meetings in Hotlanta. So that's gonna be good too. If you want to connect with the Gun Collective, you can do so on the internet machines by punching in the Gun Collective.
Awesome. Josh, Four Guys Guns.
I'm not here with these guys. I got a pig in competition, and I'm going to take that blue ribbon. No one got that joke? All right, so basically, yep, just like the other two guys, going to be down at Great American Outdoor Show down in Pennsylvania. But I think what the other guys didn't allude to is that we're going to have a TGC News and Legal Brief versus
Downrange Firearms Training and Four Guys Guns, a weekly drill down episode that we are filming down there. So look forward to that. We're also in the same boat as Mr. Patton here. We are going to be getting ready for NRAM as well. So look forward to seeing everyone in Atlanta. I do enjoy that state and its women profusely. You can follow me at Four Guys Guns, all one word, all spelled out, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Please like and subscribe and share. We do appreciate it, and it gets around.
Awesome. You can subscribe on iTunes, leave us a review there, leave us feedback on YouTube or the bottom of the Facebook live video. We go live every Thursday night about 9 p.m. Central Time. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube live. Contribute to the show by using the Amazon affiliate link. Thank you, Mur. Mur, thank you.
Oh, Mur. I thought you said Mark. Yeah, I thought it was like Mark.
Mark.
C or a K?
Mark DeVito.
Thanks for having me, Jake. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Nate.
Me again?
You're very welcome.
I'm so confused right now.
No, it was a pleasure. Thanks for having me on, Jake. I appreciate it.
And thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Jake. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, John.
Hey, this has been one of the best episodes in a long time. Thanks, Jake.
Thank you, Whitey.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
That's a wrap. We'll see you next week.